Good morning, everyone, everywhere. Welcome to H&D Abroad. I'm Herman. This is the beautiful D. And for those of you happy Easter weekend. It's been a while. We did not see you on last week.
No, but I probably saw a good bit of you when I went live on Stephanie Perry's channel last week. Talking about the emotions of moving abroad. And I think we're just rolling a little bit of that forward today in preparation for some content that we're going to do next month is May, and it's Mental Health Awareness Month. So why not talk about the mental health space on our channel? As you all know, our family is sharing the Move Abroad preparation and all of the many decisions that you need, many and quantity, many decisions that you could be confronting, that we are confronting, that I think we can be a support to one another in navigating that. So if that kind of content, seeing scouting trips, having the opportunity to ask your questions to people who are part of that space, but also finding a tribe of folk, the people in this community that might be open to helping. That's what we're here for.
So we ask you to like this video. You're here, like it now. Subscribe to this channel. Because we want you to be a part of this great community that has built up around us, that has helped us to grow both individually and as a couple. Mm-hmm. And hit the notification bell so that you'll know when we go live. We usually go live on Saturdays, 1 p.m. Central, 2 p.m. Eastern. We're a little earlier today. And a couple of times during the week. We've been on a little bit of a break. We're here earlier today because we're taking a little bit of a break. But we wanted to be able to grow with you, and it's so glad that you came in with us today. See a lot of our great fam with us today. So Jice is out there hanging out, doing that walk. We'll be doing ours as soon as we're done here today.
Absolutely. Welcome, Tanya Brooks.
Our ever-present Tanya Brooks. We appreciate you. Dr. O, it's good to see you.
Absolutely.
And Beijing Alpha 4 is in the house in Spain.
Yeah, so we are talking decision fatigue and what that can look like in the move abroad process. We'll share a little bit of our experience, but really this is kind of a self-assessment where you can kind of take a look at where you are in your process to kind of figure out, is there a reason for my procrastination? Is there a reason for feeling overwhelmed, or just, what do I need to do to stop feeling or to reduce the chance of me feeling anxious in my process, or hoping that some of the clues and tips that we share today could be helpful to you. So do not forget that this is
a conversation.
Absolutely.
So please put your questions in the chat. If you're watching from the future, please leave comments in the comment section. We do respond to all comments because it's an ongoing conversation, because it's a learning part of this process.
So kind of wanted to start off with, what is decision fatigue? So like we said, the mental and emotional exhaustion. So if you're not just exhausted just because you start a process, it usually builds up. So it's mental and emotional exhaustion from making too many decisions, sometimes in a short amount of time. So we're going to talk about areas where that can happen. One, for me, it's definitely decluttering. That process can be a landmine, choosing where you want to go. And all of the minute decisions that you feel like, sometimes you feel like I need to make those before I leave to make sure that I have a smooth transition. But y'all, we're going to even in this conversation, we're going to talk about the areas that are fraught, that could be fraught with the opportunity for burnout. And then how to navigate that, how to do some, answer some questions, some yes, no questions for you. And then some affirmations that might be helpful. So thank you, Maya Spikes, for joining today. So I think burnout prevention, maybe. I mean, just kind of raising awareness. So if you have experienced a little bit of burnout, a little bit of decision fatigue, put some examples in the chat. So one of the things that, oh, go ahead, Davis.
No. So just to add to what you were saying, to add to what can be identified as fatigue, how do I know that this is becoming overwhelming to me? One is that you feel overwhelmed. Another common sign may just be, which is common to a lot of us, is procrastination. I find other things to do instead of putting things in order for this, or it becomes confusing. It becomes
you begin to see so many parts of the pie that, hey, I thought that finding a bank was a simple decision.
Right.
And now it's just like, not only do I have, I can know that I've got on the ground options, but now there are all these virtual banking options. How do I choose? How do I line it up? Like, I'm hoping that what we shared last week is a huge, a week before last, is a huge benefit to helping you to combat some of the decision fatigue, is to utilize AI. Utilize AI to ask questions, to put your, kind of your plan, your, what do we call it? Your non-negotiables in the platform, and say, give me, based on what you know about me, based on what I've shared, give me some options, and put it in chart form that will help me to see, what opportunities that it's not going to give you 100. You can say, give me 10, give me 20, include Central and South America, include Africa. So we showed some of those examples last week, but definitely leveraging technology to help with some of the decisions, and maybe even investigate some of the opportunities as you are also making friends in the expat communities, and connecting with others that are doing this process, what they've learned, people who are behind you, in their process, who might just be getting started, folks who have already moved abroad. That's really the core of our channel, is that the weaving of those kinds of resources, because we can all learn from each other. So why don't we talk through some of the quiz questions?
Okay.
Yeah. So here's some yes, no, self-reflection questions that you can ask yourself to identify decision fatigue in the move abroad space, right?
Right.
So
let's see. First would be, can this decision wait without affecting my overall move timeline? If I put this on hold, will it affect the bigger picture, or will it give me an opportunity to catch up?
Yeah. So definitely. The second one, have I clearly identified my top 3 relocation priorities before tackling this? So, being able to say, what are the most important things? I need to be able to make money. That's usually pretty big for most people. Is there a community of folks that that are active online or with a WhatsApp group? or is there a contact, somebody that I can reliably go to if I have questions as I'm on my track? So have I identified what are the top three things so that everything isn't a priority? Okay.
So does this choice line up with my overall core goals, my financial goals, my lifestyles, the community? Does this choice that I'm making right now line up with that? Um, eh, that's important because you can pull from so many pieces, and there are so many things you can. And when you know, okay, here's where my priorities lie, and in this process, I want to follow these priorities. Does this decision I'm making right now follow these priorities, or is it leading me down a rabbit hole that eventually will make me feel overwhelmed or add something to this process that I don't need?
Probably the next two deal with kind of that self-imposed pressure.
Mhm.
So, am I making this under undue time pressure or an artificial time deadline? Am I making this under undue time pressure or an artificial deadline? And have I capped the number of big decisions I'll make today? Y'all, look.
Yeah.
We can tell you all of the things. We can talk about all the things that you should be paying attention to, but like, do I have to do all of it today? Is this what is most important when you lay the decisions, the areas that you feel are important? You can say, look, I'm going to do you're decluttering. I'm going to clean 3 cabinets. I'm going to clean 1 closet. I'm going to spend 1 hour researching so that I don't go down a rabbit hole. Those of us who are neurodivergent, this is the ongoing battle. Many of us are passionate about moving abroad, passionate about, trying to give this the best opportunity to be successful. And so, but managing that under, is the process the problem or the way that I am approaching it?
It's really easy in that to get, because you try to see the whole thing at the same time.
Right.
When I clean a room, I clean this room. Anything that doesn't belong in this room gets thrown into the room it belongs in.
Oh my God, y'all, I can't stand it.
Yes, but this room is clean and I don't have to come back to this room.
Right.
And if I go to that room and find something that belongs in this room, it's just a matter of putting it away in this room. If I walk that to that room to put that away in that room, then I start cleaning that room and I never come back to the room I started with. So all the other rooms are going to get messed up, but I finished the room I was working on.
Mm-hmm.
That works for me.
Yeah.
Because then I'm only working on the next room and then the next room.
Yeah.
Let's see. Am I feeling mentally or physically drained right now? If you have rested well and you still feel tired, sometimes that's a sign that your body is experiencing stress. Sometimes, and a lot of times, that's, as you said a minute ago, the stress we put on ourselves. We create more in this process than has to be at a time. So if your body is telling you to slow down, it's a sign that you need to slow down. It's a sign that you may need to reevaluate the direction you're going with your process, because it is easily overwhelming.
Let's see. So this is kind of a strategy that's put into this question, but have I batch scheduled similar decisions to tackle them together? So it's kind of giving you a strategy in that question. But is there something else that if I'm looking for, or if I'm doing this together, are there things that I could do together to, as they say, kill 2 birds with 1 stone? Okay. Could I do this better by coupling versus trying to tackle each individual thing separately. And
And there's a balance thing there. There's a balance thing there. We're talking when we say doing things together that are similar, they have to not make this process more complex. It's easy to say, oh, let's see. While I'm washing the dishes, I'm also scrubbing the cabinets. It's in the kitchen together, but those are two totally different, vast tasks that need to be tackled separately. But as I'm cleaning the dishes, I'm drying them and putting them away.
Yeah, it is from the move abroad perspective. I'm in the Facebook groups. I'm in the WhatsApp groups. Not just to ask my questions, but also I can use the search feature to go back and research other things. So getting to know a community is both for me, and I'm able to tackle developing relationships, which is important to me, with people that are on the ground or who have experience in the space. But also I can do a little bit of research. I can do a little bit of background. I can find content creators that are sharing their experience on the ground, the digital nomads that are starting and are sharing. Like, I'm not just watching YouTube for entertainment. Okay. But I'm also capturing a little bit of research. One example of that is we love the Expat Diaries. Y'all, I always get their channel wrong. They're in Cuenca, Ecuador. I'm using them because I feel like I've been talking about Ecuador this whole month. I'm going to transition to a new country next month. But they have a beautiful channel. And one of the top things for me is environment. And so I was looking at their videos because they share great content about apartments and just the integrating and awareness of the culture in Cuenca. But I also was paying attention to, like, I can tell that your videos, oh my goodness. That's why you don't eat breakfast while you're going live. Excuse me.
This is real TV.
That you guys are outside. It's bright, but it looks to be overcast. Is that really what it's like in Ecuador? Because one of the things that I know about myself from where we currently live is gray skies equal depression, anxiety. I mean, like, it's a real trigger for me. And she was like, yeah, but it's not cold. It's warm. It's not. So I got a chance to take a resource, turn it to something that is a priority for me, that it was able to serve a dual purpose. I hate to go down a rabbit hole with you on that, but definitely wanted to share how that looked.
Last is, am I building regular breaks between planning sessions? It's easy, especially when you're motivated to a process, or you want to set a deadline to roll from one thing to the next thing to the next thing. You have to stop in this process and take a breath. It is a lot. There are, because it's more than just I packed up and I moved to a new house. It's more than I packed up and I moved to a new state. It's moving to a new environment, a new culture, a new housing quality, housing standards. Everything is changing how you move in this process. Granted, there are places that you go that look just like where you came from, and you can have that. But even in the middle of all of that, there are going to be vast differences about things. There are places that we have considered that on the front end of it, I said, I'm taking my mixer with me regardless. And she said, if we go there, there's no plugs you can use with your equipment, have different plugs. And you go, oh, I didn't consider that. And now something that you were like, yes, I'm fighting for the right, and I figure out how to pay for this. You're going, okay, I'm gonna have to buy something else when I get there, and I'm gonna have to sell this.
Yeah.
So those things are important to take into consideration.
Want to say hi to Kimmy Apple. Yes, we are early today. We're going to be participating in some Easter festivities this afternoon
I'm putting some
with
eggs in the yard. She's going to look for
family and
them.
friends. Hey, Lorana. And I'm mentioning Lorana especially in this conversation because one of the decision fatigue areas that I have shared on this channel, we have shared, is like people say you should have at least a basic command of the language. And I was like, do I really? Can I just learn some key terms? Lorana
As I
set
grow along.
folk free with, I have, what did she say? I have 4-year-old language skills. Speak to me like a 4-year-old in your native language, because that is what I have the capacity to understand now. And sometimes it is some of this process, some of the decision fatigue that I feel like people have, or the pressure that they're feeling is really around, I have been the expert, I have been functioning at a top level, a professional level in my everyday life, and that now I'm going to have to back up and be entry level. And when you are 40, 50, 60, older, it's new headspace that I think one requires some grace. This process is going to require you to have some grace with yourself and to say, I'm learning, not just to yourself, but to other people. And I can guarantee you, if I have experiences where I'm experiencing more people being frustrated, upset, angry, maybe that's not the place for me, or that's not the group for me. I'm telling y'all, I'm particular when I get in a group. I do, look at what the group culture is to kind of understand, because I have been in some, I'm going to say, in some non-melanated spaces where you ask a question and people, the first lines are sarcasm. And I'm just like, I'm in here asking a real question. I've searched the group and I don't see the answer to this. And the first response you give me back, y'all's first responses is sarcasm. These not my people.
I want to go back to something you just said a second ago. You mentioned, we're used to moving, pacing, planning, being organized. This process is a gut check because it requires you to rethink how you do things. You are who you are. You do things the way you do them. But it sometimes really pushes you to dial back and reassess how you approach a process. Sometimes I think we get so clinical, so overly structured with the process, with how we live life. It is the American way to be, tight and always and constantly going. That sometimes when you realize you're dealing with a facilitator who lives 2,000, 3,000 miles away, 8 time zones away, and they got a whole something happening and you got to wait for them. You have to kind of dial back how you're approaching some of this, because you can become very frustrated, very overwhelmed. I keep using that word because sometimes we're rushing. The desire to be free, the desire to be free creates a nowness that sometimes supersedes good sense and good judgment making. In this process, I personally am slowly implementing more meditation. Stop, take a breath. I walked into work a couple of days ago, and our supervisor was sitting at the desk, and it was 9 o'clock in the morning. Now, mind you, I understood that she had been there 4 hours already, 5 hours already. And I walked up to her And I said, good morning. And I said, breathe.
Hmm.
Because we don't realize sometimes in life we are holding our breath,
Mm-hmm.
both literally and figuratively. And in this process, the desire for freedom, we get in this clenched space. This isn't working. I got to do this and I got to control that. And that's going to hopefully lead us to segue the next piece is
Mm-hmm.
being individually in control of the whole process. Even sometimes with couples, there is always one person a lot of times who is more, I got to move, I got to shift it, I got to, and you have to allow yourself a little bit of grace, a whole lot of
A
grace. You
whole
just said that, a
lot.
whole lot of grace in this process, and step back and say, what's my phrase that I told you about work? I did good work today. I did good work today.
Come on
He needs
now. Come
patience
on.
for this process. Ask me how I know. Last week's banking experience in Panama, 3 hours later. Yeah, I mean, we're used to now directly, immediately in the next 15 minutes. What took you so long? I walked into a store and you didn't talk to me in 5 minutes. I'm walking out. The world does not exist on American bias and the things that we have built up that we protect ourselves about.
But it is
Excuse me.
how we are trained.
Correct.
It's literally, I'm gonna keep saying this term, the poison of convenience. The conveniences are distancing us from processes that don't align with that. And so it creates friction or frustration where that's not normal.
Yeah.
It's not, everything doesn't happen at the speed of light where, but sometimes you do need it to happen quickly, you know.
In the Incredibles, they're racing down the road to save the world. They're flying down the road. They're banging down the road in a van, and the kids say, "Are we there yet?" And Mr. Incredible says, "We get there
When we get
when
there.
we get there." They're racing to a goal, but we get there when we get there.
Yeah, Maya. Yeah. I mean, the sarcasm is real, y'all. The sarcasm is real.
Oh yes,
And
that's me,
and
Sam. I breathe it all. This little city is growing in leaps and bounds, and what was an empty road yesterday is an overcrowded road today. I breathe through all the red lights and all the stop signs, and now all the roundabouts.
I know. Hey, Celeste. Hello, Eloise. Farida and I will be sisters, probably, hopefully, next door to each other in just a few days. I'm telling you, this process, this training that I'm doing within myself is really preparing me for not just how to make decisions, but how to recognize inside my body that things, I need to slow it down.
Mm-hmm.
Take a minute. Mental fog, procrastination are indicators that something's happening here or
Mm-hmm.
here
Mm-hmm.
that I need to pay attention to. Am I trying to avoid? Am I avoiding some things? You know, it's some decisions that need to be made, or am I making some decisions impulsively because I'm just tired of making decisions?
Mm-hmm.
So, and then the other part of this conversation that I think we're going to roll into also is you've got two forms of capital in the move abroad space. You've got the money. Money is a capital. You're going to be able to access things because money is going to give you access. Money is going to pave the way for different kinds of visas. It's going to pave the way for different. It's going to pave the way for access to people who can do the lift for you, a facilitator, an attorney, a real estate agent. There are some folks that will not only help you by going around with an iPad, understanding your apartment selection criteria, but they'll also, when you land, make sure you've got food in the refrigerator. Like we talk about how to create the soft landing for you, being in spaces that might be a little bit more expensive because they give you more access. Galanda and I were talking last week, and she was like, folks that live in Accra, Ghana, are in the city center. They don't have the internet issues we have. She lives on the Gold Coast. And so she was just like, if you want a softer landing, go to the capital, but understand it's going to be a little bit more expensive there. And so you can either give that form of capital or time. Time is going to be the other thing. So things may go a little bit slower. You need more time so that you can do the things that need to be done and it's going to take, I could hire somebody to come and declutter my house in 3 days.
Hey.
Do I want them to do that? I might have to, but doing it myself, the DIY means I'm doing it myself, but I'm doing it in coordination with other parts of my life, which leads me to something else. Dr. O, y'all are being so kind to me. This is way too early in the morning to be talking about my hair wrap and my skin.
Listen,
but anyway,
it's why I sit halfway out the screen, y'all. So I'm just here.
So
I'm just present.
Now you done made me forget. But what I want to say is, this is not a race. Things change. Your responsibilities change. The things on the ground where you're wanting to go may be shifting and changing. It's like I tell my mamas, as a doula, you get an estimated date of delivery from your midwife or from your doctor, add 2 extra weeks. Because once you get to that date and then the baby's like, I'm not done baking, then everybody's, the baby not here yet, the baby not here yet. That's a lot of undue pressure. And so, yes, on this channel, people want to know when we going and where we're going. And I say, we get there.
When we get there.
I have even said, maybe we should not be on our channel if we can't leave by this date. And I'm just like, y'all are saying we're still gaining positively. We are still getting something positive from the content that you're sharing.
And the fact of the matter is, we do this selfishly. We do this because you all tell us stuff and I go, I didn't think about that. Did you take notes? When we get off, we write notes on all the chat comments.
Oh, yes.
I will never hear.
Your capital, look, the human resource people are resourcing in the chat today, okay?
I just can't hear boots on the ground the same anymore. So
He just totally ruined it, y'all.
No.
Totally ruined it. But yeah, I mean, when you are leveraging, when you are curating, when you are nurturing relationships, y'all get out here and learn how to be a friend. How you doing? How your mama doing? And then go into your question.
Hey, Dr. O, this is my mantra right now. It seems easier to do when you're solo, but we've been having this conversation. Have you shared with them about Spain?
No.
So we'll come back to that. We've applied to a process again in Spain, and I did it with something that I did not approach last year, and it's I don't have to. I can change my mind.
Pivot.
There is so much to this process that we are doing because we feel if we don't do this, then we can't do that. If we don't do it this way, then we can't do that. We can show up to a place that we liked when we visited and decide after we get there and live in there that we really don't like it. And I plan to have no guilt and no regrets because our process is our process, and your process is your process.
Mm-hmm.
And I guess we're going to keep rolling back to saying you offer yourself some grace in this, because it is a learning, it is a growing. Uh, uh, you know, we get caught in the have to. If it's not like this, then it isn't succeeding. And again, you said earlier, we've been conditioned.
Mm-hmm.
I'll use a different word than trained. We've been conditioned
Wow.
to, if it is not going the way you expected or others expected,
Or
then,
there is resistance.
then you're not succeeding.
Mm-hmm.
If I'm the only person who feels great about it, as long as it's not harm to anybody else, then our daughter is an excellent artist. Like,
God.
since she was a little something, she's been drawing. She's an excellent artist. So we try to encourage what we felt wasn't always encouraged in our generational growth. Is, what do you love? What do you like? So, we gave her classes she could go to. We provided her art supplies. We were like, you can turn this into, and we made so many things available. And she was like, this is something I do for me.
Mm-hmm.
It has taken us a long time to step the hell off and get out of her way, mm-hmm. and let it be something that is authentic to her and her process. Because if it becomes a task for her, then it's not a love for her. And I have to accept that.
Y'all are preaching in the comments today. Come on, Kimmy Apple. Come on. Uprooting your life is hard. Look, this 50-plus-year-old brain does not like change. Mm-hmm. When change is friction. Mm-hmm. Okay? If I don't have a lot of friction in my life, it's going to feel uphill. That is okay. How do I press forward? So this is a good segue to talking about how to recognize and prevent decision fatigue. We've already mentioned some of these. Mm-hmm. So batching your decisions. So if there are some decisions that you think you could do together, what can your facilitator do? Y'all, what I have found in interviewing so many facilitators and working with one for our residency in Mexico, and now we're working on the residency in Ecuador and some other places, is they can help you not just with the visa. They can help you open a bank account. They can help you, they can refer you to folks that set you all the way up. Like I mentioned before, they can literally, if you do the Black Expats in Panama tour, like, you land, you get to the hotel, and then everything else is taken care of. Mm-hmm. Like, sometimes I just need that to happen so that there are less friction points.
So I just can focus on the why I'm here, the mm-hmm. event, and not the process.
Creating a non-negotiable list. This is content we have talked about before, but I want you to hear it all together. So batching your decisions, creating a non-negotiables list. Sometimes the hope is you may start off with 30 things, probably come up with your top 10 or 12 things that are just like, look, if there's not enough hot water here, if there's not electricity for me to work, if you need to work, then that's a non-negotiable. Mm-hmm. That is like, I can't really do more than a few days, if not a few weeks, and then I got to find another plan. Use decision-making tools. We've talked about AI, apps, a coach, Exodus, ASAP is mm-hmm. a great look. That is not just a tool, but a process. Pro and con list. Look, y'all, one day I'll show you all of the wall Post-it notes that we have up, including what's going to go in each of the Move Abroad totes. This is the planner of this team.
This is
so that you can understand.
This is the strong planner. I have
So
a plan.
he's the packer. I'm the planner. So that's how you can definitely work together. Set a decision limit.
That's a big one.
I'm gonna work on this for an hour. We talked about that in the declutter conversation. Or
this is my process.
This is right. These are the things that I want to accomplish this week. My goal is X. Okay. What are the incremental things that I can do today, this week, or that I can accomplish within a month that will keep me on target for whatever the financial goal is? So look, we've had some the last of the things that we want to not have in our pocket, these last little debts. Okay. They're things I don't want reaching in my pocket, reaching into my budget monthly. So we had to get down to, what are we going to handle this pay period? What are the deadlines that we want to meet? More things we have to say no to so that we can say yes to checking that debt off. Like, though, creating a shortened, decision list helps me to not feel overwhelmed, but also still feel very purposeful, very focused. And then, y'all, the last thing is get help. Jice talked about it. I think it was Sam in the comments. Yes. Get help. Get help. I mean, when you're out here, ain't nobody asking you to be out here by yourself. You know what I'm saying? You take advantage of, like I said, the folks that are coming, that are new to the process. Their eyes are new. That you can learn from everyone. You have something to share. Please find a way to share it in your groups, on your channel, becoming a digital, developing digital products that give people a roadmap. Those are things that I think delegating, outsourcing, using a virtual assistant. Look, everything should not only depend on you. Good enough.
Parallel to that, I want to comment on what Jason and Maya said here, and that's sometimes quieting the noise around you.
Yes,
it's bringing in people who will help you and quieting the noise of the people as content creators. And several people here on content creators, people get into your comments with a lot of noise. Remember, they don't write your checks. They don't sleep on your pillow. You got to learn to reduce that. But it's not just those people. As Maya said, there are people in your close sphere who don't understand. It's not necessary for you to make them understand.
Oh God, then you are going to expend a lot of energy.
You're doing what you're doing is the best for you, and you ask them to please hope that they support you in whatever the process is, because you can get bogged down in all the noise and all the voices, including your own. We second guess ourselves. We got content that we're holding back in when even in our sharing, because there's always I have a house, I have a yard, I'm near the kids, the money is stable here. There's so many things. Will I be able to fit in? What if I don't like it? What if there's all of that. Having people around you who remind you of your why, who share with you in talking through your process, help you, because as C. Bliss says here, it does change a lot. I know we had a conversation. I was trying to remember what that conversation was, and people were like, "This seems like a lot." And it absolutely is.
Yeah.
Even if, as Dee is saying, you got people who are walking you through it all along the way. it is a lot, because there is a difference between a diet and a lifestyle change. There's a big difference between I'm doing this so that I can, and then when I'm back to, then I can do what I want. And I'm changing my life so that from here on out, I will have these results. And a lifestyle change shows up in places like how we eat and how we approach our spiritual, walk with ourselves. And those things tie into this move abroad. There are things that you like to eat that may not be available where you go. There are things that you may not like that may be a common staple where you like to go. You may be used to getting in your car and driving all across town, and now you're going to have to ride an Uber or walk or catch a bike or buy a scooter. It is a lifestyle change. Allow yourself the grace. Take a deep breath. Take a step back.
Look, it's got to make sense
your way through
for your goal. And literally, I had a conversation with Laela. If you go back to a previous live, it has why. Know your why.
Mm-hmm.
Literally, we've had to write down, why are we doing this? It was probably the first or second conversation we had on this channel, and we listed out why it was important. Those things, the category of our why, that we prioritize for why we were moving abroad hasn't changed. But some of the processes that undergird them, a lot of those things I've had to let go. Okay. The perfect conditions right now. Greta's in the chat right now. Greta and I know we looking at the stock market, y'all. We're looking at, is this really the time for me to leave, to change my income? Y'all, nothing is going to be the perfect, the perfect time was last year, 10 years ago. It's like what they say about the best time to plant a tree was 10 years ago, 20 years ago. Okay. But the best time to plant your tree is the now that is available to you.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Absolutely.
So no, Greta, you're not late, darling. You're not late. We came on early today. I want to, as we kind of wrap up the conversation, I do want to say decision fatigue is real. But it doesn't have to derail your dreams. That there are minute decisions, there are decisions that have consequences, and that acceptance and pivoting is a part of this process that should not bring shame. You're not going to get shame on this channel about
nothing.
Jumping too early, jumping too late. It's not my time. None of that. None of that. Where I think people, where I have had to step back is saying, I'm feeling overwhelmed. Why? How do I nurture my heart, reach out for help, and keep my process moving forward? I was like, I want to be on the other side of the world, but if I have to be in Mexico because that is what makes sense, I wanted to be in a place that would keep my move abroad dreams alive. And that I have a community of folks that don't mind listening and doing some, rapid fire style support that helps me to say, oh, that really is good for me, that I am willing to be a good listener and to better articulate within myself, to my partner, to the people of influence closest to me, that it is, this process will be what it will be. So we wanted to move last year.
And the year before that.
And the year before that. We want to move this year. We are continuing to put things in motion. We signed up for Spain again with NowCap. I don't know. But look, my job, I feel like the way I keep my Move Abroad dream alive is I keep putting one foot in front of the other. I might have to say, I'm no longer available. I've had to tell people that I really care about, that are doing some great projects, that I really want to be on the ground to be able to do. I'm not sure that aligns with where I am and what I need to be doing right now.
Goal setting is important. It's important to setting deadlines and moving forward, but changing the goal line is whatever it is for you. We have watched in this process, it's been 3 years that we've been sharing this experience with you.
Almost.
We've interviewed people who were behind us, who've gone on ahead. We've talked to people who went off and had to come back. The process shifts in everybody's house. Ever since we were dating, I said to Dee, we're not them.
Oh my gosh.
We're not them. Their experience is not us. Their life is not us. Because it's so easy to see, hey, we're close to these people. If they can do it, we can do it. And that is the truth. But when we do it, how we do it, how you do it, how you go about it has to be unique to you. Has to be authentic to you. That with the Joneses concept, you can get really caught up. Okay. A part of why we share what we share on this channel has been we just walking along day by day. It would have been real easy when we finally showed up somewhere to click on the screen and say, hey, here we are and here's why. And listen, there are a lot of people we're talking to and they're like, how are you doing this? Greta?
Hey, Greta.
We are with you.
100%.
Been there. I have been working part-time, like full-time for 2 years now. You make these shifts and changes because what's in front of you, you say, oh, and I didn't move to part-time because I didn't want to work full-time anymore. It just, things change.
Right.
And I am getting ready to, and I know she's holding her breath, I am getting ready to shift the financial dynamic some because if there's some things I don't do for me, there's some things I will never be able to do for us.
Come on now.
And it means that in the midst of this planning, I have to risk take. And that is terrifying. If it were just me in this screen and I'm risk taking, I'm only affecting me. My risk taking affects the person I care about the most, which means I got to have full conversations and she's got to be able to say, okay, then that's going to affect us here. That's going to affect this money. That's going to affect this time. And I have to trust that my partner has enough respect for me that we work through this process together. And she has to trust that I have enough respect for her that I will, 1, share my intentions, and 2, actually put them into effect because I can hold on to it. I could put that away. I could hope that somewhere down the road, I could squeeze that in. We've been saying probably since the beginning of this, any of the habits we want to have wherever we go, start here.
Right now.
Start right here.
Pivot mindset, Jace. Because we're friends, I know the things that are shifting. But y'all, Jace is still finding joy. Look, you're going to see 2 happily married women traveling solo, even though our move abroad might be looking a little different, might be showing up a little bit different. We will always, there will be Black joy here. You hear me? There will be growth. that we will experience support, not just for each other, but in this community. You will always find that. I want to say a couple of things as we transition to the affirmations. So we're going to breathe together. Y'all, Mama Marilyn B is in the house. She has loved us and encouraged us and shouted us out so much. Look, I cannot wait to get to Mexico and meet you in person. But you need people like that in your corner. You need people who say, look, for your joy, for your recovery. Some people, you are trying to get healthy enough to leave. I am watching a friend I've never met. I have never met Deborah in my life. But my sister has moved abroad, had to come back for her health. I know folks that are trying to heal so that they can make transit. Mm-hmm. Sisters are sharing. I am currently battling cancer. I'm getting healthy enough so that I can make this transition. My kids, I have a partner that is not will. I won't say a partner. My children's father does not want them to leave. My partner and my kids don't want to leave right now. What do I do? What do I do with this dream? You keep moving forward. Okay. If it means you spend some time away, you continue to develop that while continuing to nurture the relationships that are important and pivotal to you, caring for a parent. Hey, does that mean you can't move abroad? Maybe that means, look, for 3 months out of the year, you get sister, cousin, temporary. You can your person can be temporarily in assisted living facility so that you can take the time to rest, heal, nurture your dream, the cells within your body. That hope is something powerful. Mm-hmm. I don't think that we need to delay dreaming. I don't think that we need to delay, but the decisions around it are the decisions about changing your life come with friction. And I am hopeful that you are able to find a way. And we're going to breathe together with some short affirmations that just help you to center that a little bit. So we're probably going to do maybe about 6 or so of them. So we're going to ask you to breathe in through your nose, exhale through your mouth. You can take these affirmations, whisper them to yourself, write them down. There's an app, I think it's called Parrot, where you can read it and then you can you can record it and play it for yourself every day. Y'all, there's one, if I can find a way to put it in our reels, I will. But it's a lady, you know, that automated voice when you call the bank and it says how much you have in your account. And it's like, you have $12,650,727.57.
Hey.
Would that give relief emotionally to anybody that is feeling the financial pressure, the concerns about, will I lose my job? You know, look, sometimes you just need to center. And I believe that you create energetically the positivity around you. You'll either have positive cells that attract things to you, positive things to you, or you'll have negative ions that are attracting, well, they attract positive, but you know, not outside. We're talking outside of the neuron world, but positive attracts positive and negative attracts negative. What are you doing energetically to bring positivity to you? So we invite you to say with us, I am safe in this moment. I am safe in this moment.
I inhale peace and I exhale tension. I inhale peace and I exhale tension.
I choose ease over urgency.
One step at a time is enough.
I release what I don't need.
It's okay to pause.
I trust the process.
I am allowed to rest.
I am not behind. I am right on time.
And calm is always within reach.
Breathing in, breathing out. Thank you all so much for sharing in the chat today your process, how you are navigating. We appreciate this community. Look, it's all in how you look at it, Greta. Unemployment is a pivot. Look,
Been through a few of them. Pivot like a boss.
I'm attending a workshop talking about digital products and how to sell yourself online, because what we're here to do is to say, I am ready for change that brings me closer to. It is the wave that brings me closer to my dreams. Thank you all so much. That's right. Over here, we pivot like a boss. Peace and blessings to each of you. Have a good weekend. We encourage you to like this video, subscribe to our channel, hit the notification bell. So just in case we go on early, that you are notified.
You'll be shooting them some new content throughout the week next week.
Absolutely, when I head to Barbados. See you soon. Bye for now.